green box. There's bitrate. There's live counter ticking up. Going to assume that means we are live, or very shortly will be. Welcome back, everybody, to the Paradox Hour podcast. It is currently in the UK, where, which is the only place time matters. It is currently the 3rd of December, which means we are rapidly approaching a new year. And that means we are going to start our roundup of 2021. Hell yeah that it has been.
Been a year, certainly.
Certainly, can't disagree with the people who still think it's March 2020.
What even is time but a concept?
Mm-hmm. But there have been games released this year. I can't say that Jack and I have played many of them, but there are certainly some games.
They certainly happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, on our list we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 games. Frankly, there are some big games that we just have not played. Actually, are we including Scarlet Nexus on this list?
Oh yeah, thank you. Could you include
Oh,
that?
damn it.
Yeah, but some of the big ones, unfortunately, we had to leave off, including, sadly, Resident Evil Village.
Oh, I could talk about that a little bit. I've watched that been played, if nothing else.
True.
I can't talk about the gameplay, but who gives a shit about gameplay nowadays?
Fair, I guess.
I do.
People keep fucking buying FIFA for each goddamn year.
And people do keep buying Skyrim.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So who really
we
gives a shit
unfortunately-
about who gives a shit about gameplay?
we quote-unquote unfortunately won't be able to discuss Halo Infinite or Battlefield 2042.
Not that I would want to.
Even if I had time, I wasn't playing those.
But other games that have been left off of the list are Metroid Dread, Life is Strange, True Colors, the new Pokemon games that just came out, so none of us have had the time to play them.
Again, not that I
Far
would.
Cry 6, and a few others here and there. Oh, Shin Megami Tensei was also too recent for us to really play through.
I do want to play that, if only because Casey Mongio is voicing the protagonist.
Ooh,
I do like Casey.
Casey is good. And also Near Replicant is the last big one I can think of.
Oh yeah, that did happen, huh?
Wanted to play it, didn't have the money.
Not a fan of Nier, so...
Just
I
fair.
still get to play Automata, so...
I do recommend Automata. I really enjoyed it. It was my game of the year that I played it.
I've heard amazing things about it, and I do want to play it.
That was also the same year I played P5 and Final Fantasy XV as a reference. And I should point out that I enjoyed Final Fantasy XV.
Top P5?
No, I enjoyed... out of the 3 games that I distinctly remember playing that year that I actually cared about, so not like FIFA or... I think I was still playing Overwatch at the time. 15 was probably 3rd, P5 2nd, and then Nier 1st. So I really did enjoy Nier.
Well,
Makes sense.
I still
We have a
like
lot of
fan art
ga-
for it when it comes up on my feed. But we should get started with a game that, frankly, is now 3 years old, but we are still talking about it, Among Us.
what a great time.
I love Among Us.
It's
Even if
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, this year we've seen the introduction of the airship and the introduction of the new roles.
I don't think any of us have played it with the new rules yet, but everything I've heard about it has indicated chaos.
I've tried them out on that, practice single player mode. And the fact that the abilities have cooldowns is probably what makes them not broken.
That is definitely a positive. If they didn't have cooldowns, they would be obscenely overpowered.
But I just want to see the chaos. I think it's engineer causes by being able to go into vents.
That's just a troll. That's just a role for the trolls.
Yeah, and I want to play it.
Yeah, so it's your role.
It will cause chaos, and I will have fun.
Exactly.
I mean, I'd love to enjoy the chaos too. So
I
I started
wonder.
inventing. No, I was engineering, bro.
Yeah, I wonder what happens when like the imposter or the engineer tries to go into an already occupied vent. Do they just go in there as well, and you just get like this like awkward face off, or
No, no.
And I looked at him, and he looked at me.
I do either want to see it in action or play it myself, but I think the roles will be good. The airship, um, I think it's too big. It has to. There does have to be like at least sort of 8-9 players for the airship, if not more, because it's just so big.
Yeah, no. I hesitate to play games with less than 10 players on the airship.
Like there's enough trouble finding bodies sometimes in Polus, which I think was previously the biggest map, and like airship blows it out of the water. It's also got two of probably the worst tasks in the game.
Oh yeah.
The safe, which feels easy but it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got a decidedly miserable success rate with it. And then the fucking electrical doors, which is just asking for you to get killed. In
Oh
fact,
yeah. No.
You want to know what the worst one is? It's Simon Says.
Simon Says is always the worst task. Always has been. Always will be.
I don't mind Simon Says. It reminds me of the days when I had to do that post swimming lessons for some reason.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
why. I don't know why they made us do it after swimming lessons in particular, but they did. Maybe they were just doing it for the kids who got changed quickly. Let the slow kids catch up. I don't fucking know.
Anyway, Among Us, fun time. Also, makes you hate your friends.
Yes. Was it earlier this year that me, Mill, and Fuzzy were basically at each other's throats whenever we played this?
Yes,
I think it was, yeah.
I was
It was
there.
mostly
I watched
most-
it happen.
it was mostly me and Mill, but Fuzzy was also involved at points.
Yeah, because you fucking chucked me for no reason. In a game that wasn't
Hey,
even streamed, I should point out.
You killed me too, several times.
Yeah, for good reason. I was the imposter, or
But you
I had
went
good
out and
cause,
killed me
possibly.
first. Always killed me first, man.
You chucked me because the lights went out, and then somebody died. It was literally 10 seconds after the game started, and you chucked me.
I forgot who was the imposter that round.
I
That
believe
funny.
it was Kaido.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, he got a real kick out of that.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
That sounds like Kaido.
That said, I'm still I think basically undefeated as imposter.
I don't recall you actually getting caught.
I think the only time I've really been caught is the very first time I played the game, and I was panicking more than usual.
Yeah, most of the times I've seen you die in Among Us, you were either vented as a false imposter or you got killed by the imposter.
I very rarely get killed by the imposter either, mainly because I don't go around being suspicious of people. I just go around and do my tasks blindly.
Hmm.
I don't even turn the lights on when they go off. I basically have the belief that if I die with the lights off, then fair game. But yeah, Among Us, very fun. Hope to play it again at some point if we can get the numbers. But moving on to a game that none of us have played, but I have watched it be played. Deathloop. the tastiest of breakfast cereals.
Mm.
So yeah, I've only watched this be played. Frankly, it's basically the same. It looks like it's got basically the same type of gameplay as Dishonored, Dishonored 2, just with slightly different mechanics. I mean, it does look like it's an enjoyable game, but it also looks like the actual gameplay loop could get boring pretty quickly because you're basically going around and doing the same stuff as you try and find information each day. And while the Dishonored gameplay loop can be fun, it's not overly challenging and it's not overly sort of stimulating, I would say. What I will say is that the voice acting for the two leads, Colt and I'm blanking on the other name. What's the other name? Where is it? Colt and Juliana. Colt and Juliana, that's it. Juliana.
Yes.
Yeah, the voice acting for them is just superb. Like, genuinely.
Yeah. I've heard only good things.
Like, just... And there is a lot of back and forth between the two of them, which does help, make the game. But certainly, I'm not rushing out to buy this at full price. I think it would probably be a pretty fun game, discounted, and certainly, just to play with, something on in the background, like a podcast or a stream or something like that.
So the cool thing about this game is that it's essentially an open world Dishonored game.
Yeah.
Which I think, like, if I'm honest, is... Like, how do I describe it? It's like open world Dishonored game, but also excellent co-op opportunities.
Mm.
Where, like, you can actually have, like, essentially assassin duels.
Yeah.
Between you and another person, which I think is a very novel concept.
Yeah.
Plus, it also fixes one of my biggest complaints with Dishonored, which is this idea that, like, yeah, Dishonored has really good murder sandboxes, like Hitman, but you only go to them once.
Yeah.
For Deathloop, you go back and you learn the level.
Yeah.
Really well. And also, the game doesn't punish you for using its tools.
Yeah. No, you do not get punished for murdering everyone in sight. In fact, you are pretty much... you're basically, like, encouraged to do that.
Right. So I really do think it's a good game.
Mm. I really enjoy the concept of you basically, Groundhog Daying your way through the game, and learning more and more new info as you go. I just think that it would probably be more appealing if the gameplay loop was just that bit better.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because, unless you actually, like, really optimize your time, you're going to have to do that loop a lot. And you're going to have to be doing the same stuff of, shooting, using powers, maybe a bit of melee in there as well, a lot of times. What could spice it up is the fact that obviously are able to play as Juliana and invade another player's thing, which does change up what you have to do, because it's more a case of lying in wait than just going around killing people. Not to mention the AI is incredibly stupid.
Yeah, and I think that's almost to the game's benefit. Like,
oh no, it is, because if it was too smart, it would be too hard.
Right, and that's just not fun for anyone.
And it is explained in universe by the fact that these people are probably off their head on all sorts of drugs and alcohol.
And also, they're not living every day.
Yeah.
Like, they don't go back and remember.
Yeah, there's only, I think, 3, maybe 4 characters who realize that time is looping. Two of them being the 2 leads.
Yeah, and then the other being the it's like like one of the evil scientists, right?
Yeah. Which one is it? I think it's Wengie Evans.
Yeah, like the problem is that these like the people you're killing are just not interesting.
For the most part, they're not. Rambling Frank is quite good because he's genuinely doesn't seem like an actual dick.
So
the rest of them do seem like dicks.
So the kill targets are less the good Assassin's Creed game kill targets, more the bad Assassin's Creed game kill targets.
It's more, I would call them closer to like bad Dishonored villains.
I haven't even played Dishonored yet.
Dishonored is a better Assassin's Creed in my opinion.
I mean, I'll go through who you have to kill. There's Igor, who is basically an insecure scientist. Wengie, another scientist who... Oh, there's an example of the great voice acting. Like, Wengie is talking to some grunts over a radio. Colt can kill the grunts and then speak into the radio. And Wengie goes, "Colt, is that you?" And you can press it again and Colt goes, no. Colt, you dick. It's just... Again, it's just the delivery by Colt's VA, who is Jason E. Kelly.
You know, I do love good radio chatter between bosses and goons.
Yeah, like
that's the reason I love the Batman Arkham games.
Yeah, because it's just so full of it.
This adds a lot of personality to the villains too.
Like as I said, I think this would be a genuinely fantastic game if the gameplay loop was just that little bit better. As it is, it does seem like it's an enjoyable game to just sort of play a little bit mindlessly, but at the same time you do need a little bit of thought behind it, because it is that type of game.
Yeah, but I think it's... Yeah, I've also heard not great things about the story, but that's just a me thing. Like, there's a reveal at the end, and I was like, this isn't great.
I
won't say what it is.
Yeah, I know what it is. I think it's okay. Like, it does help to sort of contextualize what's going on, but it doesn't really matter in the end, honestly. I mean, what is interesting is that it is supposedly set in the same universe as Dishonored.
Yeah.
Which could be interesting, but yeah.
Lots of things. It's a bit more, bit farther along the tech tree than Dishonored.
Well, I mean, at the end of Dishonored 2, you have a very important moment happening.
The Industrial Revolution?
Well, I mean...
No, I don't know what goes on, but I know that Dishonored is steampunk. So I was making a joke.
It's whale punk.
Whale punk, interesting. It does have that industrial vibe to it, though.
It is. So... It's supposed to be whale punk.
Interesting.
But that comes from the death that and that comes from the god of the world, the Outsider, and one of the games is called Death of the Outsider.
Fun.
So this is probably further along in that tech tree after God dies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Deathloop, very fun game
Yeah,
from what I've heard.
if you enjoy the gameplay of Dishonored, definitely check this out because it really is in the same, certainly gameplay wise, in the same vein as Dishonored, with far fewer consequences.
Yeah.
But moving on to another game that I don't think any of us have played, Disco Elysium: The Final Cut.
I did not touch it. It's
I haven't
on
even
the
played the
list.
original.
I have, and I really liked it, but I just need to do it. It just, ugh.
It
just
seems
on
like
the
a
list.
very dense game that you
Yeah.
can't play all at once.
And also you just need to like spend the time.
Yeah, it's certainly on my list of games, and every time I like see it in a on Steam or in on the PlayStation Store, I am tempted to get it. The Final Cut obviously added voice acting to a lot of it.
Yeah, and the voice acting from what I heard is really good.
The main
I will say it did have voice acting prior to that. It's just they have professional VAs doing it now
Mm.
instead of random communist podcasters who did a really good job. Don't get
Yeah,
me wrong.
yeah. I'm trying to think of, because there's one like mind voice in particular that gets a lot of lines and has a really distinct voice that I enjoyed.
Mm.
But yeah, this seems like a really interesting game. I still haven't. I've watched two people stream it, and neither of them got to the end.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Um, so I still don't entirely know how it ends. I assume it either ends in the protagonist, going out in a blaze of glory, or drowning on his own vomit soaked in booze. Depending on your choices, of course.
I think the game just has a really interesting take on on communist ideology and the way
Yeah.
revolution can be co-opted by selfish autocrats.
Yep.
Oh, so
That's the
that's a
type of
big
game this
split
is. That's the type
Yes,
of game this is.
you are thinking about this game. And for those of you who know what this means, yes, it is political. Um,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's more shocking the number of pieces of media that aren't at least somewhat political.
I know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the first 10 minutes of the game, someone calls you a cop a pig. So I mean, you know what you're gonna get to from like minute one.
Doesn't sound particularly subtle. Not that I care.
I mean, you
And then
you have to put up with a Scouse / Mancunian pig, not pig, kid.
no, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. What's his fucking name?
I don't know. It's been a minute since I played this goddamn game.
Kuno. He's Scouse / Mancunian. I
Uh,
sometimes struggle to. I think Scouse. I
yeah,
mean,
excellent game.
he's the kid
Worth
is
checking
introduced.
out. Please
Yeah,
play it.
yeah. Do play it. Do give it a shot. As I said, or as we've said, it's not a game you can play in one sitting because your mind will just be fried from the concepts this throws out, and the way in which it does it, like. Maybe not, done.
Yeah, this is a game.
Maybe not done in
This
the
is a
most.
game. You have like you're sit. you're sipping brandy, um, and over from an open fire, and just casually scrolling through this.
Yeah.
That's the kind of game this is. Um, but yeah, definitely worth checking out if you can.
Yeah. Moving on
Next
to
up,
Dodgeball
Dodgeball
Academia.
Academia.
That sounds lit.
Does look fun. Has a neat art style.
It. So I think I'm the only one who's played this one.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Um, this game is my dishonorable mention for the year.
Oh.
Oh no.
I enjoyed it for what it is. Um, but and what it tried to do, but it took too long to get somewhere, and I did end up returning it because I was like, oh, I'm under 2 hours, joy of joys, um, because it's very much an arcade game, and it plays like it. And the problem is that 2 hours in, I still hadn't learned how to dodge in a game called Dodgeball.
Yeah, that sounds like it's a bit of a problem.
Did you learn to duck, dip, dive, and dodge?
I just want dodge. No. I did make friends with a guy who has a balloon for a head.
That's neat.
Now that's all that's making me think
Um,
of is
I think like if you're looking for a very like
all that's making me think of is that one like recurring set of episodes from Phineas and Ferb with Meep and Balloony. One day we will talk about Phineas and Ferb on
yeah,
this stream.
I mean, this is a game that like if you're into probably. I think like if you like arcade games, this is gonna be a game for you. It's just not my bag, and that's all it is, you know.
Mhm.
Like it's not
Completely
because I
fair.
don't. It's not because I think it's a bad game. It's just not my. It's very shonen, very like anime. One of the dodgeball teachers, is a gorilla. I'm not
Oh, that
even
sounds fun.
joking. Another another student has a car. It has a cube for a head, and they call him Cubey, and he bullies Balloon Head. You you have a rival who is just an asshole. It's great. It's very like by the numbers, shonen sports story. Excellent time. I just wanted to get started
Yeah.
already,
Mm.
and I like it doesn't like it just doesn't do enough of the school bit to earn the sports bit. It's just not. It's missing the facade that like a game like Captain Tsubasa has, right?
Yeah.
Like the expectation that like these are people who have normal lives, or even Yu-Gi-Oh with its normal life horse shit. Like you expect these kids to go to school, do they? No, but you know you think they do.
To be fair, the Yu-Gi-Oh kids did go to school a
You would
decent amount.
believe me if I told you they did.
They went to school a decent amount until a certain point, which was, I think, probably when Yugi became king of games, which, to be fair, is fairly early on. Yugi reached that pinnacle very early on.
Right, but you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
just like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he literally became king of the pirates real quick. um, but I think Dodgeball Academia is it was interesting. It was worth me trying it. I just don't think it's my bag, and I'm glad for having tried it, just knowing, but I do know that I would not buy it again.
Hmm. Something that you do continue to buy over and over again, though, Final Fantasy XIV.
See, I refuse to fall
Oh,
down this.
Lord, I've been spending too much time on this game. Hey kids, do you want to ask me how many hours have I spent on Final Fantasy XIV?
How many again?
Just guess what my playtime is on Steam. Yes.
I'm gonna say it's in the 4 digits.
No checking. I want you
Over
to guess.
9,000.
Not that bad. I haven't even managed to put that into
1016.2.
1016.2. Yeah, 4 digits then. Technically 5 if you add the decimal.
My next highest, I think, is Civ 5. And that's at, let me just check real quick. Sid Meier, where are you? 205.
That difference
That's
is
the
half
next
an order of
highest.
magnitude. So yeah.
Correct.
I mean, my highest games are literally Football Manager, and that is only because I had a habit of leaving the game running for ages. The highest
will
the,
say
the
that-
highest for games for non-Football Manager games is Civ 6 at 79 hours.
Final Fantasy X-2 is 191.9. But back to Final Fantasy XIV. The thing about FF14 that I really like, and I'm not normally an MMO player, is you can have one character who is all the classes. Already an excellent start. Already up there. Um, each class feels distinct, has a different feel to it. They do similar things, have different similar functions within party compositions, but all feel distinct and have differing mechanics that are fun. The story is very by the numbers, Final Fantasy. Nothing too crazy there. But overall, like, I just can't stop playing it because it's fun. The story's not good. It actively infuriates me at points. But that doesn't mean I don't love it. I don't not enjoy my time.
Yeah.
It's my garbage game of the year. It's fine. It's my pleasure to play this. Thank you. I'll buy another year of this game. Thank you very much. Please beat me over the head. Sure.
I mean, my issue with MMOs in general is that I tend to get bored pretty quickly. It's if I'm on my
I
own.
have a hard time making online friends.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm on my own, yeah, I get bored. Like I try.
The nice thing about
Go ahead.
sorry, oh, I was just gonna say the nice thing about 14 is like I just play mostly solo.
Mm.
You can do it. Party Finder's really easy to use. I do pugs mostly, but like, I don't really care about like the guild system or anything like that. I'm just here for the story and the narrative and the
Yeah.
gameplay, which is just fun as hell.
Yeah.
Also, the expansion that is coming out literally tomorrow, has you be a class called the Reaper, wielding a scythe. It's the most edgelordy class of all time. Of fucking course, I'm gonna play it.
How much does Final
Have you
Fantasy
not
XIV
watched-
cost?
Uh, pretty cheap actually. It's like not that expensive.
Like per month?
Let me check. I think it's like 15 a month, which isn't bad at all. Like a little bit more expensive than WoW was in its heyday.
I think it's more expensive than Ultima Online, which is the only other MMO I've really played.
Uh,
That's a really old MMO. If anyone remembers that one.
doesn't let me know. Fuck it. Let me just check. 14 subscription cost. $12.99 a month.
Yeah, round that down and into pounds. That's probably only about 10 quid.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still probably not going to get it because I don't have the time to get invested in an MMO.
I will say they did add a new Game Plus feature, so if like, say for instance, like me, you stopped for a long time
Yeah.
and then returned to the game, there's now a feature that lets you replay old story bits, so you can be like, oh, that's right, that's what fucking happened. But yeah, excellent game. The other new class they're unveiling tomorrow is called the Sage, and they use magic space lasers.
Of course they do.
They use freaking laser beams for their head.
Nope, it's like magic guns that heal you.
Ooh, that's neat.
Hold on, I'm gonna show you a picture of what they look like. I'll post it in our image chat. Because also you can be a bunny boy. It's great.
I should hope so. You should. Being a bunny person, it should be equal opportunity. You should be allowed to be a bunny girl or a bunny boy or a bunny person, regardless.
Can you guys see the image I posted in the chat?
I'm looking for it.
Yeah.
Noise.
Like you're just using magic space lasers. It's great. And then the Reaper is just, a guy who has a scythe and has made a deal with devils. It's great.
Does
This
the Reaper
game-
also speak with a Jamaican accent?
No, he's a lion man.
Darn.
And you also get the quest from an angry gardener.
I feel like this is a reference to something that I'm not familiar with.
So the other class that uses the scythe is the botanist, which is one of the gathering classes. So that's why.
I remember back in the day of Ultima Online, my weapons of choice were a lance and a kris.
Mm.
The lance somehow was a finesse
But yeah.
weapon.
Interesting. Not sure how to parse that.
What was it? It was either... It definitely wasn't like just base strength. It was... Might not have been technically finesse, but I'm fairly sure it used dex. Whatever the fucking... Like... Let me check.
Yeah, but FF14, excellent MMO, still really going strong.
That's
the
right.
only other
It was,
MMO that I could even...
it was fucking
Sorry?
fencing. That's what it used. Fencing.
The only other MMO that I could even think of that comes close is Guild Wars 2, honestly.
Sounds fun.
So, moving on to the pixels.
Moving on to same universe, Final Fantasy Pixels.
So
I am
yes,
not familiar with this at all.
so Final Fantasies 1 through 6 are notorious in that they are very difficult to come across outside of portables or really shitty mobile remakes. Or also really awful 3D remakes. And so to fix this, Square has recently re-released all six pixel like the games from the Pixel era, Final Fantasies 1 through 6 as pixel remasters.
That's dope.
Just updating updating the pixel work, updating the music, changing a few gameplay functions to make them less onerous, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
I've only played 1 and a bit of 2 at this point, and I do really enjoy them. 1's a lot better than the original that I played. The music's a bit worse, but a lot of the quality of life improvements with the gameplay are worth replaying it. 1 is really interesting because it plays like a D&D game.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, wizards have spell slots that restore on rest, and you have to prepare spells in those slots. And it's like, oh, that's actually really interesting, and this is a mechanic I really like. And like, it's a very by the numbers story, and it's like, that's right. You can feel the history of the game, almost like talking to you and how it's simple it is, because you know that this is the beginning of the however long this game series has been going for, like 30 years at this point.
In excess of 25 years.
Right. So, like, you know, in many ways, like, seeing how the game started with 1 and then a little bit with 2, you get a lot of, like, that style, so.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard really good things about the 5 and 6 the 4 and 5 pixel remasters.
Nice.
And 6 is still forthcoming, but I'm really interested to see what the response is to 6, because that's one of the most beloved games of all time. So, very interested to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Now to a game that I don't play at all, FIFA 2021.
FIFA 21. I've put this on the list solely to shit on it. It is terrible. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know whether this is just the PC port or if it's this bad on console as well. But y'all can watch me play, I think, 2 games on stream before deciding that it's not worth my sanity. Moving on to Fall Guys. It's just so god awful. It just, like, they just keep. It's not even that they don't change the gameplay. They keep making the gameplay worse. The gameplay has gotten significantly worse since over the last few years.
You know, it's almost impressive.
It's almost like it's kind of sad that, like, it is worse somehow than Captain Tsubasa.
Captain Tsubasa is a far, far funner football game. Like, it's significantly less accurate, but it's actually enjoyable because it doesn't, like, try too hard to be realistic.
Yeah.
That's what FIFA has done over the last few years. It has tried too hard to be realistic, and therefore it has just gotten less fun because you don't play fucking football video games for realism, really. Certainly you don't play FIFA for it. If you want realism, you play the game that's next on the list.
Yeah. Which is also a game I don't play.
But FIFA 2021, it doesn't help that it appears that EA has finally gotten sick of having to accommodate for legacy defending. Because what they did, 7-8 years ago now, is they introduced a new form of defending called tactical defending, where you actually have to time when your player tries to stick a foot in to get a tackle. And I hated that because I'm bad at timing. I'm terrible at timing. Thankfully, they kept the previous.
And everyone hated it.
Everyone hated it, but they just kept using it until they got used to it, basically. I never bothered with that. So I just kept using the legacy version of the defending. And as the games have gone on, it's become more and more of a disadvantage to do so, to the point where, like, I get significantly more fouls given against me than somebody on tactical defending. Genuinely. And it's gotten to the point where, you know, I tried to play 2021 and it's just unusable. Physically unusable. It just doesn't do anything. Like, it doesn't react in time. It doesn't even really try and tackle. So I think they've finally gotten sick of having to accommodate for it, and have just made it unusable for anyone. Again, I might be wrong. You know, I've only played it on PC. I refused to pay money for it, so I got it through Xbox Game Pass, which is also part of EA's Game Pass, or whatever they call it.
Origin Access, I think.
Something like that, yeah. I absolutely refuse to pay money for it, and frankly, at this point, I think less of anyone who has paid money for it.
Oof.
That's how bad this game was for me.
Ooh, sorry.
Moving on to a game I enjoy.
I just want a good sports game.
Yeah. Hey, Captain Tsubasa's good. Like, it's not accurate, but it's good.
Yeah. Like, how do I describe it? You remember when I posted, like, I want a game that just gives no shits about its, like, anime bullshit? I just want Inazuma 11.
Again, I'd argue Captain Tsubasa it pretty much gives no shits about what it's doing. It is unapologetic in its anime bullshit.
No, Mill. I think I posted it in Inazuma 11.
Yeah, no, I've seen Inazuma 11 clips. Yes, I have, and it is suitably insane.
You know the level of bullshit I'm talking about.
Yeah. I just want a Haikyuu game.
Yeah, no, that'd be fun. Or even a Kuroko game. That would also be really fun.
I almost want a Prince of Tennis game.
That would be
too bad, Phil.
Really
You're gonna get
good.
a baby instead.
Gonna get a what?
Baby steps. I don't know.
Baby steps was apparently pretty good.
I've never touched it, so I would.
I'll take any anime-themed sports game. Hey, Iron J Gaming. I'll take any anime sports game. Like, most of them will be suitably either fun in terms of character or fun in terms of anime bullshit. Again, imagine if we got a Run with the Wind game.
Oh my lord, that would be the best. Give it to me, inject it into my soul.
Like, it would be half running and half just Kakeru just living his life.
It would be a visual novel with running elements and training.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's just something really enjoyable about that concept of, like, oh, so good. But speaking of enjoyable visual novels.
Well, I still have to talk about FM21.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, it's good. It's basically the same. Or actually, no, they did change quite a bit for this particular installment of Football Manager. It's a good game. Like, Football Manager is an enjoyable game. It's one that I sort of haven't had the sort of desire to play much for a while. Simply because I just the times that I tried to, the teams that I started. My engagement in football in general is at its lowest that it's been for a while, mostly because my favourite team, Everton, are doing horribly. And it's just hard for me to invest myself in football. Not to mention the teams that I did manage on Football Manager, it just went poorly. whoever's managing Genk in real life has just gutted them. And I tried to take over at Schalke, who then got relegated the season this game was based on, or the season this game came out. So you can see how well I will have done with those two teams. Not to mention, it's a very...
Emil, I feel like...
Go ahead.
No, continue. I'll bring it up in a second.
Not to mention, it's just like... It's a very involved game. Like, honestly, like I've got my two friends, or two of my closest friends from high school. Well, two of the only people that I still talk to from high school, who also happen to be my closest friends. I don't talk to many people from my high school, like maybe 3 or 4. Like, they are, like, all in on football in general, but also, you know, the tactics and the training side of it. I'm not that bothered by that stuff, so I don't have the sort of desire to really go into that stuff. I also sort of find it a little bit boring to, like, have to go and find fucking players and transfer them in and do contracts and all that shit. Honestly, I just want to play the football. Which is why for my, you know, fucking mindless game with stream on the background, I do end up playing FIFA, though FIFA 18, which I think I got for like £5. Because I refuse to give too much money to EA for FIFA.
Completely fair and valid.
I also haven't touched Ultimate Team in several years, which is the loot box shit. God, I spent too much money on that shit. I still remember a birthday with one of my friends, where we're all together at his house, and he got something like, or he spent like £50 of his birthday money on a fucking like Ultimate Team pack and got fuck all. And we just absolutely pissed ourselves over it. It's not good. It's really not good. Somebody should be taking EA up on that shit, because it's really terrible. Yeah, but back to Football. What were you gonna say again? On Football Manager?
I feel like we should talk. We should talk about Ted Lasso at some point.
I haven't watched Ted Lasso. I feel like I should, but I'm also slightly wary about Americans talking about football.
I've heard it's really good.
As have I.
Like, I do trust it because, I think, what is it, Bill Lawrence is the creator, the guy who made Scrubs, and Zach Braff does direct a couple of episodes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And like, everything I've heard is that it is quite respectful of games. It's just, I just am very wary of hearing an American accent talking about football, because there's obviously, you Americans won't know about this, but there is a series of ads in the UK of an American for, like, I think it's some betting organization, like, where he just obnoxiously gets the terms wrong, and it's supposed to be funny, and it's just not. I'm also sick of hearing Kevin Bacon talk about mobile networks.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I
do think it's... Give it a shot. I will say that.
It doesn't help that it's on Apple TV as well, which means I'll probably have to pay a decent amount of money for it.
Just do the free trial and binge the show.
It's going to end with the 3rd season, so I think that might be worth it. So
I'll probably wait until that 3rd season comes out and binge it then.
Sounds like a good idea.
But yes, moving on to everyone's favourite series of visual novels, The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
So good.
There he is, the epitome of man. What is it? Herlock Sholmes.
Yes.
Sherlock Holmes. Oh my God.
Oh my god, so good.
We are
So good.
I just want to make it clear that we will be playing these once we've finished Phoenix Wright. Because
I've been playing this, and Lordy have fucking mercy. Like, I love the Ace Attorney series with all of my heart and soul. I have played these games, all of them except the newest Spirit of Justice and the one you can't get in America.
what is that? Tribulations, I think.
No, it's Miles Ace Attorney Investigations 2.
Ah, right.
And I think like this is the game that I've been wanting from them for so long because it does so much with its like just world telling,
Yeah.
right? Like not necessarily the direct narrative of the characters and the game and the story being told in the forefront, but just in like what's not said, the subtext. It's so good.
Yeah.
Because you're playing a character. So, as a background for Gracie Ace Attorney, you're playing as a character. You're playing as, I think, an ancestor of Phoenix Wright from Japan, right when Japan is opening up in the Meiji era, allying with Britain. Your character goes to Great Britain as an exchange student as an exchange law student, and acts as a lawyer in London, defending people and essentially solving crimes.
Yeah.
But like the game doesn't shy away from being very racist.
Okay.
You mean like to suit the times?
Yeah, like they use like almost like they use Nipponese as like a slur almost.
Oh boy.
They automatically assume you as a Japanese foreigner are like a criminal. They don't trust you or treat you as an exotic oddity. Or like the British characters will often talk down to you as if you're an idiot. And like
I don't see much change from how people
I as a
treat
person
Phoenix.
find like it's like I as a person abhor this kind of thing. And it's like
Yeah.
to see it very well done
Mm.
and in a way that's like, ooh, that is biting. It's very good to see. It's very interesting to see because the game, like, it doesn't call it out. It just lets it be.
Yeah.
And you know it's bullshit. And you know it's wrong. But it's just like, oh, that's there. Oh. Ooh, that's right. Not great.
I mean, personally, I'm just looking forward to how it manages to escalate, considering the fucking second case of the first game had Red White from Blue Corp and the ghost of our mentor just coming back to life to save the case for us.
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy.
Like, I'm interested to see how fucking Phoenix Wright manages to escalate from there, let alone another 3 games set, like, in the fucking late 1800s, early 1900s.
The last case in Game 1 is excellent, as is Case 4. But Great Ace Attorney, excellent game. My main quibble with it is that it takes too long to get to London.
Yeah.
Which is mitigated by the fact that you are, that there are 2 games in the Great Ace Attorney bundle. Ace Attorney 1, I think, which is called Resolve, and the Great Ace Attorney 2, which has another subtitle attached to it, which is fully set in England and continues the same story.
Yeah.
But again, my main quibble is that Great Ace Attorney 1 just kind of takes too long to get started,
Mm-hmm.
and tutorializes at you for far too long.
Yeah.
But you meet some very fun characters, Herlock Sholmes being one of them, and of course you have your main hero, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Excellent guy.
Yeah.
Excellent simp. Excellent idiot.
No, hold on.
I mean, I still remember the that case that you certainly showed me. I think you might have showed Jack as well. Of the dude
Possibly.
with tuberculosis just coughing into the handkerchief.
Yeah, it's just like the fuck. Are you okay? We could do this later. You know, it's like we can do this later, guy. Don't worry. Um, and like, I do think like this is a game that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
In its entirety. It was such a fun time. I'm really excited
Yeah.
to see where it goes.
I'm excited to play it, honestly. Like, I'm really excited.
I will say that like my main like the characters are all so charming.
Yeah.
Like they're just classic Phoenix Wright bullshit characters,
Yeah.
which is just mwah. Um, so I'm eager for you to get here. I want you to get here as soon as possible, but I don't want to like make you skip out on the excellence that is the Ace Attorney trilogy. But excellent game.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Edgeworth of this game is actually more interesting than Edgeworth is to me.
Wow.
He's
Interesting.
also hotter.
Oh no.
I showed you a picture of this man.
I believe you did, but
I showed you
let me. It's in the same chat, right? I just gotta scroll up, right?
It's in this. Yeah, it's in this chat. Like this man is very hot.
Suppose it just depends
Like, if
how
you
far
were into
up it is.
I'm not seeing it.
Hold on. I'm gonna post it again.
Probably smart.
Oh wow.
He
Okay.
swirls a glass of wine
Of course he
indoors
does.
no.
and throws it.
Of course he does.
And when he gets serious, he rips off his cloak JoJo style. Are you kidding me? This man is a sex god.
I would be disappointed if he didn't do that stuff. Looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
His nickname is the Reaper of the Bailey. Like, they couldn't have designed a better man. And I'm so excited for you guys.
I'm so looking forward to it.
It's gonna take a while for us to get there, but it will be worth it.
Yeah.
In other news, this game is on my list for top games of the year. So
Ooh.
that's a thing. A list that not even FF14 is dotted into, considering how much I play that game. So, but we should talk about Mass Effect, because that is a game that all of us have touched.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition, yeah. I mean, we
I think
talked
this-
we talked a little bit about, well, not a little bit. We talked a lot about Mass Effect a couple of weeks ago now, but we should probably talk about it in the context of the remaster itself.
Yeah, it's a good remaster, honestly. Like
It is
really
a good
well done.
remaster. It is really well done. It was really nice to kind of have a chance to play through Bring Down the Sky, which is a DLC I never got to play in the original.
What was also really fun was just seeing all the updated graphics and updated mechanics applied to such a fantastic game series.
I bet it was fun to see Rex in full HD for the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Rex is wonderful. Yeah. Honestly,
In terms of like the narrative, like, sorry.
I'm like the narrative is the same as it has been. Like, there's no real changes to the narrative at all. There's no real changes to the story, the romances, or anything like that, which I am slightly disappointed with because they had an opportunity to fix the issue of, oh, hey, we had to remove these because people got mad for bigoted reasons, and
Yeah.
they could have taken that opportunity and unfortunately didn't. Which is,
Yeah, it's the same it's the same complaint I had about Persona 4 when they did the PC release,
Mm.
where like you know, you could like there is code in the game for the Yosuke gay option and they didn't keep it.
Yeah.
And that's just unfortunate.
tisk, tisk, tisk. But on the plus side, this game is still really good, and goddamn, do the updated mechanics help out a lot. Especially with the fucking
It
Mako.
did.
The Mako is just such a nightmare. Like, even after the updates, it still handles like shit sometimes,
Yeah.
but it still handles them so much better than it did in the original. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god. I'm surprised any of us beat that game, if I'm honest.
This is the game in the trilogy I have replayed the least.
I'm actually, I think, able to download the OG Mass Effect through Xbox Game Pass. I'm tempted to do it just to see how bad the fucking the Mako is. Yeah.
It's bad, dude. It handles like
Mm-hmm.
it handles like a greased pig somehow decided to somehow dunked itself in oil too. And then added some soap just to add to the slippery trifecta.
Yeah, it just wasn't good.
But yeah, beyond those updates, I also appreciate having all the DLC in one package rather than having to like pay for
Yeah.
everything individually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, considering like I didn't have the Javik DLC when I played 3 or Kasumi.
Oh, you were missing out, man.
Yeah, I just didn't like I had played it and I just didn't want to get it again. I got I got Citadel. I was like, I'm happy. So, that's kind of where I was at with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, no, it's still really
But-
good.
mhm. Moving on.
Moving on
Overboard.
to Overboard.
Never played that one.
It is in I like it. How to describe it? It's a visual novel. Imagine it's Clue, except instead of trying to solve the murder, you're trying to get away with it.
Ooh,
That
like
sounds
that one
interesting.
TV show.
But also, you're stuck in an Agatha Christie novel, and you're trying to make sure Hercule Poirot doesn't figure it out.
Ooh, fancy.
And Hercule Poirot is a Sikh general,
Hmm.
a retired Sikh general. Excellent game, fun art style, very simple. Like I got all the achievements within like a night. So it's very quick. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes, but very fun game. So narratively, you can like you can kill everyone on the ship who is a named character.
Wow.
Fucking hell. I'm gonna go on a limb here and guess that is extremely difficult to do.
It's very like you have to time it. It's not the hardest achievement. The hardest achievement is um winning a hand of cards.
Really now?
Yes, because you have to get blackmail material. It's all about timing. It's great. Like, and the nice thing is like the game is all about timing,
Yeah.
and it's like a very Majora's Mask in that like you do a loop, you finish it, you go back to the beginning, and then try something else.
Interesting.
Um,
So it's sort of similar to Deathloop, really, in that sense.
yeah, but it's just a fun murder game. It's like it's just you're reading an Agatha Christie novel, but from the opposite perspective.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that as someone
Mm.
who really loves Agatha Christie.
No, it definitely sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Like
doesn't
here,
look like it's
you've
too expensive either.
no, and it's very like this is the art style. It's very fun.
Yeah.
I posted a picture in the chat. Like, the art style is very like it's very pop arty and like has like the characters all look like they're from the 1920s
Hmm.
in this real way, and I really I can appreciate that. So
Technically 1930s. It's 1935 based on the summary.
yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, it just has that feel though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So really enjoyed it. Would not say no to another run at it or watching someone play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's on the list. And we go into what is very much a very another excellent game.
Psychonauts 2, which obviously we have played on the channel.
Yep.
Put 10 streams
Like,
into
good
it.
one.
Yeah. Very good one.
Very good.
I mean, yeah, it was just an enjoyable game all round. I got sucked into the story. Was completely blindsided by the reveals.
That was
Oh my
great.
god, it was just so funny.
After
watching that
suspecting
happen.
Otto for pretty much the entire game, and still past the point of the reveal, I was still suspecting him a little bit.
Oh my god, I like loved it. It was
That was
great.
so funny.
Ah,
I
Like,
still think
no,
he's going to end up
you know-
being the villain at some point.
no, you have to understand. It was very difficult for me to sit on that information the whole game.
It's fine. It was hilarious. Oh god, I just. Oh, I watched once we finished. I watched somebody else play it, and they like pretty much called the reveals immediately, and I was just like, and I thought it was Otto.
You were, to be fair, you were really stubborn about that. You were really sticking to your guns with that one.
I mean, if I didn't, I still had no idea about who was the mole. Or, the other reveal in that game. I had no fucking clue.
But like,
Right, how could it possibly have been someone as inconspicuously named as Nick John Smith?
Oh, God.
but I think like in terms of like the narrative of Psychonauts 2, like they also knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Like like Double Fine games have a reputation, right?
Mm.
Like it's the reputation of their games and their stories are good, not great. They're wholesome, they're heartwarming, but they never go like that last step into like this is a game I'm going to remember for a while.
Yeah.
Psychonauts 2 did that
Mm.
in a way that's very good.
Yeah.
And like I wish we had more of it, and I understand why not. But I think like having Augustus be a larger player, and like having Raz's relationship to his family be more of a center stage, of the game rather than his relationship to the other interns
Yeah.
at the Psychonauts headquarters
Mm.
would have been a better road to go overall.
Yeah.
Because
Not to mention,
it
like,
would have
the campers from the first game kind of don't show up again, except for one of them.
right. I mean, Lily shows up just because
Exactly.
it's Lily.
And none of the other
and
I mean,
campers.
if this gets
Bobby,
I mean, yeah.
technically, Bobby.
If this gets another game, I want to explore the relationship between Bobby Zilch and Dr. Loboto.
That threw you
That's
for a
a-
fucking loop when that happened.
Here's the thing, like that's been a even me as somebody who only played Psychonauts for the first time, like the OG Psychonauts, like 2-3 years ago, like, and you know I'm not really big in any fandoms. I don't like go on Reddit or any other forums or Twitter or anything like that for them. But even I knew about the fucking theory that Loboto was Bobby Zilch's dad. So to actually get that pretty much confirmation, because like who else would it fucking be?
Mm.
Right, they're both blue.
Also, they have a very similar head and neck shape.
Yeah. No, they look incredibly similar. Like it would be stupid if it was anyone other than Bobby.
It would have been really funny though
Yeah.
if it wasn't, and it was like, oh, I'm actually Lily's dad or something, you know?
Yeah.
That would have been funny, but at the same
So,
time, would kind of contradict who we know Lily's dad to be.
right. No, I know, but like Psychonauts, like how do I describe it? Like I still need to go back and kind of do trophy cleanup.
Mm.
But like the conversation between Raz and his dad at the end after
Yeah.
in the post game is honestly like if they had
Really
just
nice.
like done a zoom out there and done the roll credits, that would have been like okay, I would have bawled like a goddamn baby.
Yeah.
It was really nice, honestly.
And like the other big narrative push of the game or theme is like your heroes are not invaluable.
Mhm.
And that's such a good message, especially in like the world that we live in today.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
and,
think
like-
it does such a good job of treating you know mental illnesses and mental health respectfully.
Yeah.
Right.
The biggest issue with it, besides how difficult it was to get all the collectibles, was some of the levels had some really disturbing designs in them. Yes, I'm referring to the first stage with all the teeth shit.
Yeah,
It's so bad that they had to warn about it before the game starts.
They had to warn about that one specifically before the game started.
Yeah.
I mean, so at the E3 that I think was E3, where they first unveiled this game and let reviewers play the first level.
Yeah.
Multiple reviewers actually went to the team and were like, "Hey, yo, this is fucked. This is triggering. I need you to it's great, it's so fun,
Yeah.
but this hits something."
Yeah.
And these are people who don't have dental phobias,
Mm.
you know. So
Yeah, I don't have a dental phobia, and it still freaks me the fuck out.
I thought it was fine.
I don't know. I guess just stuff with teeth and nails and stuff really just grosses me out if it's like body horror shit like that.
Like
You
if
know?
if the teeth had broken and they were attached to a real person who was feeling it, yeah, that would have gotten me. But they were just teeth.
yeah, but just the way the game has this deconstruction of Ford and Raz's relationship over the course of the game.
Yeah.
It's like you go from Psychonauts 1 where Raz idolizes Ford and the game builds Ford up as this really imperious big good.
Mm-hmm.
And in this game they just tear him down.
Yeah.
he's still the big good.
Mm.
Like he's still
working for the
the
good
good.
of the world, but yeah.
Like he's also like the quote unquote big good, like the cavalry, the force that's greater
Yeah.
that comes in and saves the day. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but also like you realize that like he's got chinks in his armor, and that's just such a good lesson.
Mm.
It's an invaluable one, honestly. That and like you know, family is family can be shitty. You know,
Yeah.
you can love them, but they're still like they can be shitty.
Yeah.
And you also have to choose. Like you can also choose your family.
Mm-hmm.
You're not you're not limited to the ones related to you by blood.
Mm-hmm. I do love a good found family story.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's why I
Like
like
even
Wimpy so much.
yeah, like even if Raz's family isn't a found family, they have the air of one, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that the games do show him having both very close friendships with people he's unrelated to and working to repair like his strained relationship with his own actual biological family as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't need to be mutually exclusive. You can have strong relationships both within and outside your family. And I think that's nice that
Right.
they did explore that in the game.
And like even just like even the reveal of Bobby and Lobato's relationship, even if it's just like even as a throwaway, it's still very powerful as a narrative because
Mm.
the backstory of Dr. Lobato is he was born a psychic in Grulovia, and his parents were so afraid of him being a psychic that they made him get a lobotomy.
Yeah.
Jesus
And that's why he
Christ.
wears the shower curtain head because like he had open brain surgery,
That's
you know?
fucked up.
But his
Mm-hmm.
kid and guess what? His kid goes to psychic camp.
Yeah. And there are
Like
hints.
he's
There are
giving
hints in the first game that Bobby Zilch has a, let's say, poor relationship with his dad.
yeah, like but at the end of the day like like there's like that reveal that like as much as like Bobby Zilch is an ass and Dr. Lobato's a villain, Lobato still tried to do right by his kid by giving him a supportive place to try his powers out
Mm.
and didn't,
He
treat him as like didn't do like he didn't try to harm his son. And I think that's important.
it does make him to be a much more nuanced and somewhat tragic figure than, say, the stereotypical mad scientist he initially seems to be.
Yeah.
Or even the villain of Psychonauts 2,
Mm.
who is just no nuance. He's the bad guy.
I mean, he's just a spoiled child, basically.
Right, but like he doesn't need to be like I'm not saying he needed to be nuanced. I'm glad he
Yeah.
isn't. He doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
The nuance comes from the Dragon Ascendant character,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So Psychonauts 2, excellent game. I could talk about it and like the myriad of things and like world building and like little Easter eggs that tell stories on their own. Just all on it, like just for hours. But
So
excellent
good.
time.
In fact, I'm going to add that to the podcast schedule so we can talk about it more at length and with spoilers. It is. I mean, just from a gameplay perspective, it's a very enjoyable game. The gameplay loop is very rewarding.
That it is.
I personally would advise playing it on controller because I could not play it on keyboard and mouse, physically incapable of it.
They also did update it so that you can't. It is. You can't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they added a Figment Finder essentially.
Yeah,
That's good.
which would have been, nice to
Which
have
is nice.
when the two of us were going through the game.
That fucking banana. That goddamn banana.
Hey, that fucking like unicorn figment behind the bottle.
True.
I like that it was that we had
Oh.
trouble on the same fucking level as well.
Yeah. I think Bob's bottles is like the worst. Is like the level everyone had an issue with.
I mean, I certainly had an issue with Psykings as well, just because of the kaleidoscope of colors.
Oh yeah. Oh my. But it was such a good level.
Oh no, it was a great level. I really enjoyed that level, especially just of course they're gonna get Jack Black to do a fucking musical number. Why else would you have Jack Black?
Of course.
Exactly.
Oh, he was so good.
Jack Black
but yeah,
is just
we
living
should-
his best
before-
life at this point.
He is. We should move on before we like spoil any more of this goddamn game. But play it, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
play it.
Yeah.
It's
Moving.
worth it at full price.
Yeah. Moving on to the next installment in the storied Persona 5 franchise, Persona 5 Strikers.
Now, I don't know how this is different from Persona 5. It's like a sequel, a spin-off, a retelling. or
It
what?
is a sequel. I believe it is set, what is it, the summer after the main game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So this takes place after the events of Persona 5 Royal.
So
They
I
do
think
not reference
that's-
the events of Persona 5 Royal, but they do say it happens after the events of Persona 5
Yeah,
Royal.
it's something like, what, 5-6 months afterwards, something like that.
Yeah, essentially your character comes back to Tokyo, and then you go on this like long road trip. Eventually, you get roped into another conspiracy, involving the metaverse. But instead of it being a turn-based RPG, it is instead a Muso game.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Muso games. What are those?
It is a game in which essentially it's you are a champion fighter mowing down armies of mobs,
Yeah.
bad like smaller bad guys, maybe fighting an elite or two before eventually making your way to another champion of the enemy side.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's a kind of hack and slash almost.
Yeah.
I know I'm probably vastly oversimplifying it, but
And it is a hack and
Um,
slash if you are incredibly overpowered for the vast majority of the enemies. Like a lot of them will go
Gotcha.
down in basically 1 or 2 hits.
okay, so you're basically hack and slashing your way through level 1 as a level 60
Yeah.
fighter, basically.
Yeah. I have this game. I've only played like half an hour to an hour of it. I think the new character got introduced and that was about it.
I got into like I got to like the third world and I was like, I'm just kind of done
Mm.
for now. I'll come back to it maybe.
Yeah.
Most of the games are good. I think this has an interesting story element. The nice thing about it is that, like, they don't revert the characters to who they were before Persona 5, and you have to kind of redo that work.
Yeah.
Like, these are characters who have finished their arc.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I think that's been the best part about this.
Mm-hmm.
Like watching them interact with the world.
Yeah, it's a little sad that they didn't include Yoshizawa. It's
Or Goro.
Goro is more understandable.
Right, but like they made it work for Royal.
Yes, which allowed my Joker to have his menage a trois.
Yes. But like my main complaint is that like the worlds are both too long and too short.
Yeah.
Like I wanted them to do more with the worlds and like kind of like have the characters play in them and then do another heist. Make it a Muso heist game.
Yeah.
You know, like I wanted them to make it like a Muso like you're essentially doing instead of doing palaces, you're doing prisons. And like making it a prison break game. Like you break people out of jail.
Yeah.
You know, and like it would have been really interesting to have like, you know, over the course of the game, you have to break Ryuji and the gang out of like the various prisons.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a really interesting take on this game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me. It's good that they did what they did, but I also think it could have done more, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I look forward to getting the chance to play it just because, you know, I do enjoy the characters of Persona 5. I have significant investment in them at this point. But this will be pretty much the first Muso game I've played, so it's going to be interesting to see how, as a sort of, you know, gameplay style, it will work for me.
Yeah, I mean, I played like Dynasty Warriors. I played a little bit of the what's it called? Of the Gundam one on PS3. Played Samurai Warriors, and I also played the One Piece one, One Piece Pirate Warriors.
I do have One Piece Pirate Warriors 3.
I should play one of those
Yes.
games. I've heard they're fun.
Pirate Warriors 3 is probably the best one of them, from what I've heard. 4, I think, takes place in Zoe and handles a little bit more of the New World stuff.
I've heard 4 does a bit Zoe and a bit. No.
I feel like
Yes. 3 ends at Wano. I mean, 3 ends at Dressrosa.
yeah.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
I
so-
feel like I saw somehow I would be able to get 4 for like either very cheap or free. I can't remember how.
But yeah, I think like, you know, Persona 5, it's a fun Muso. It just didn't do enough for me to make it worth playing when I have limited time, right? Like,
Yeah.
it was fun, but there was more other games for me to play.
Yeah.
Speaking of other games that I had to play,
Scarlet Nexus. So, for those who watch our anime streams, you will have heard Jack and I shit on the anime quite completely.
Yeah, the anime was not great.
I just didn't care about any of that.
Understandable.
I don't remember anyone's names.
I don't remember the names either.
Actually, no, I remember that the best friend was, I think, Nagi Carmen.
I don't know. All I know is that
Yes.
he had a bunch of death flags and it wound up being someone else biting the dust in the first few episodes.
Yeah, the female character. And then he, like, betrayed them, I think.
I don't remember. I dropped it
he
like
got
episode...
mind controlled. I literally got to this point. He got mind controlled.
Yeah.
Um,
But that was
it
the
was
point where
very-
that was the point where I said, right, I don't care about him being mind controlled, so I'm just gonna drop this.
Yeah, the game goes out of its way to not let him be a party member, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
I think like as a game, gameplay's really fun. It's very dynamic. I was telling you, Mel, and Jack earlier that like compared to a game like Bayonetta and DMC, it's much slower. But compared to a game like Naruto, like the Naruto Shippuden, the Naruto Storm games, or um, Xenoverse, it's much faster. Or even like especially God Eater and Code Vein, which I think is a better comparison. It's a much faster game with
Yeah.
more anime bullshit, and I think like this does that better. It's much more fun, much more energetic and fraught,
Yeah.
in a way that's entertaining.
See.
Um, there are characters in this game, like there is absolutely a Hinata type who is my fucking waifu already because I have a type and I will never not be on my bullshit.
I had to stop and think.
character.
I had to stop and think for a second because when I hear Hinata, I instantly like associate it with Haikyuu.
That's fair, I
Right.
suppose.
Yes, I mean Hinata will always be Hinata Hyuga from Naruto to me.
Same.
But like, Hinata, like you have the shy Moen character who is who's just like, all right, fuck it, who has my number? Jesus. Um, you have a character who looks like Ethan and talks like Ethan from Cradle.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's
I
his
still need
name?
to catch up on
You know
those
who I'm
movies.
talking about. You know who I'm.
I mean, I know who you're talking about in terms of Ethan. I don't know who you're talking about in terms of the Scarlet Nexus character. Because as I said, I don't remember any of them.
Yes, he wears his jacket over his shoulders like a badass. His thing is invisibility, and
Like
absolutely
the Marine admirals in One Piece.
yeah. Hold on, let me see if I can get his picture.
Pictures will help more
Who is
than
this asshole?
pictures. I will at least be able to maybe match up to the Mal entries.
Yes, hold on. Hagero Done. Is it me?
Kagero. Yes, I do see him on Mal. I do not remember him at all.
You can see why I call him Ethan.
Yes, I can.
Like, hold on.
Maybe he appears in the first episode,
Like
so I
this
can
mother-
check my.
Like this motherfucker. Like this motherfucker. He just looks like he's like gonna smirk and like, be the most powerful man alive for some reason.
Oh yeah, I can see that. He definitely looks like the kind of
Like-
guy. Yeah.
And like he's very much like, I'm gonna be a jokey guy and like make light of the dire situation we're in, so someone else has to be the
He's on Main
the
Boys.
straight man to my idiot.
He's on Main Boys group, isn't he?
Yes.
Probably.
I vaguely recall
At least
him.
in the-
Yes.
At least in the part that I'm at. Yes.
Yeah. I vaguely recall him.
Like the character archetypes are really interesting. The powers are fun. Like the hyperspeed one and the teleportation one are the most fun. I think the voice acting in the game is very good. I can't talk about the anime because I didn't watch it.
You don't need to worry about the anime. Don't worry about it.
But it's a game I would say get at like a reduced price.
I am fairly sure
The
I'd be
story
able
is
to
varied
get it.
by the numbers.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure I'd be able to get it through Xbox Game Pass.
Game Pass.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
a godsend
Well,
at the
like-
moment.
Yeah. I mean, this is a game where the plot is varied by the numbers anime bullshit. Like,
Yeah,
it's like, okay, obviously, the character who can see the future is not going to be a very useful power in game, so they're going to be out.
didn't they
Because
die
that's-
like
Damn.
instantly?
yeah, Naomi's like turned into an other. That's like,
Oh
okay,
yeah, she
guys,
was.
Jesus.
I remember now.
Where she got monsterized. That was not fun.
I just didn't care.
Oh, I didn't care too much either. It was just like weird.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's a fun anime game.
Yeah.
Am I gonna try and finish it? Yeah, but I'm also I have Final Fantasy 14 and Walker to get through.
Hmm.
So, priorities.
I think you were saying that yeah, the gameplay is probably the best part of this game, which is not a bad
Yeah.
problem to have.
Yeah, and I think like it's a fun gameplay. I do think it's a good gameplay.
Yeah.
Like it's very frenetic, you feel pretty powerful.
Mm.
So,
I do intend to
we
give it
can
a
move
try
on
at
to
some
the
point.
other anime ass game.
Tales of Arise.
I need to play this game. I've heard really good things about it.
This is a game where I think if you've never played a Tales game before, this is a game that I would say is a good place to start.
Okay.
That's good.
Um, um, in just in terms of gameplay, like in gameplay, like how to describe it? It's like the um, like the main issue that I had with say a game like Berseria and even Vesperia and Zestiria was that the combat ended up becoming too complex too quickly,
Hmm.
and you weren't able to like really figure it out. Like you had to really like play it, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm. So,
Like you had to like you had to like figure out how to do fire, like not necessarily what's it called? Like you had to like figure out like the fighting game styles, you know?
Hmm. I mean, I vaguely remember what little I've played of. I think it's Berseria. I think it's Berseria.
Yeah, Berseria especially is just very complex, and I did
Mm.
not like it.
I mean, yeah, I
Um,
played like an hour of it and just stopped again.
I just couldn't get my mind. I just couldn't grok with the mechanics.
Yeah.
Whereas Arise is much easier to do that. Whereas like a game like Arise is especially really good at this, where like you find yourself like, oh, it's like you're like, oh yeah, I feel so good because it works
Yeah.
in my head, right? Like,
hmm
um,
how is the story?
so I might have mentioned it a little bit, where the story is this kind of like how to describe it? It's like it's a story that's how to describe it? It's a story about revolution and characters who are seeking revolution in a world that's like, not able to like essentially a world that's just not, you know,
Not amenable to
it's a world
revolution.
that's yeah, like it's these are characters who for whatever ins for who will never seek revolution.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
these are also characters for whom, um, yeah, like who will never like the world is just so fucked
Mm-hmm.
that they will never seek out revolution
Yeah.
because it's so beyond their comprehension.
Hmm.
Then there's like and like the characters do talk about it in a real way, like in a way that like makes sense to me and like, you know, you are characters who, like your main is someone who has like a mysterious past and they're dealing like they have to work with essentially the enemy, like the forces that enslave them to do something about it.
Yeah.
But then they also have to fight, they have to work alongside revolutionaries and like, real like deal with deal with revolutionaries, deal with revolutionaries who are, not necessarily been like benevolent
Mm-hmm.
or are doing things for their own reasons or are co-opted by the forces at who are trying to continue the world in which the characters live.
Yeah.
Add on top of that, you know, you have other characters who are not good and bad, and other things. My main issue with the game so far is I'm essentially hit the point where the narrative no longer matters. Um, like the revolutionary narrative does not matter anymore,
Yeah.
and instead you're dealing with a series like you're essentially just doing your standard JRPG plot where you have to rescue the princess.
Yeah.
Um,
You have to also kill a god.
yeah, eventually, but you might also be God.
That sounds a
It's
bit
weird.
confusing.
Yeah, but like, I also want to die, so it's fine. Um,
Oh boy. Yeah, feeling all right there, dude?
it's fine. Everything's fine. Um, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Okay. Well,
Um,
what's your overall opinion of the game and the characters, especially? Because I know characters can make or break a
I
game
like
for
them.
anyone.
Like,
Oh, that's
they're
nice.
all idiots. They're all dumbasses.
I love that.
Um, you have your standard archetypes, right? You have um protagonist sword boy with no memories, tsundere girl with gun, um, moe witch, idiot martial artist,
Oh, I love a dumbass martial
noble
artist.
noble wind guy, who is vaguely Arabic themed,
Hmm.
um, and who is attended to by a knight, essentially a woman with a giant shield.
Oh, I've
Cool.
seen pictures of her.
Um,
She looks like she's a fun character.
yeah, her school outfit is a teacher, um,
Oh no.
sexy teacher with glasses. It's very good.
Oh boy.
And a pencil skirt. It's very good.
Oh boy.
Um,
God damn it.
and like the starting narratives for each of the six are interesting. I just don't like where they are at the moment, and I don't think I like where they're going with it. So overall, meh. I think it's a good Tales game. But it's still a Tales game. for better and for worse.
So it's very heavy on your
But
mileage may vary on how the characters and plot are handled.
Exactly. And then also just like keep in mind, like I think this is more of a game where um it's gonna start a conversation rather than have it wants to start a conversation more than have it.
Mm.
And I think that's better than most other JRPGs. Looking at you, Persona. So, I don't know. That's a me thing. But we can move on to Tome. So I can stop talking.
Moving on to the Terrain of Magical Expertise, aka Tome. So, I should point out that I have, or I did actually contribute to the Kickstarter for this game.
Ooh.
Actually, a significant amount of money to get a voiced enemy character. Not voiced by me, but just a voiced enemy character. That was back in, 2017. And
Oh, wow.
was literally just after I'd watched it for the first time as well. Well, watch the web series, I should say.
Wait, this started as a web series?
This started
Yeah.
as a like a web cartoon, basically made by Chris Niosi, aka Kerbifer, aka the voice of Reagan from Mob Psycho's dub.
Oh, neat.
Um, so it literally came out, I think September, something like that. And it's been an interesting experience. I have some issues with it. Mostly to do with the difficulty of some fights, because there are some fights that, certainly from my perspective, were so hard that they genuinely seemed unwinnable. But Kerbifer has actually done basically a playthrough of the game on his YouTube channel, and has shown that the fights that I thought were unwinnable are actually winnable. So it's because of my frustration with that element, I haven't actually played it for a while. I do want to get back to it, though. I might end up starting it again with a different character to see if I can actually win these fights. Because it has to be possible without, picking the exact combination of stuff that he picked. I just have to pick a different. I just have to balance or use my character to balance the party better. Overall, the gameplay itself is a little iffy. Like, so to punch, you have to tap or tap A button like several times in a row, and for some reason it doesn't always like accept my inputs. So sometimes I'll get the full combo off, sometimes I won't, and that's quite frustrating. Because the class I picked also lets you get magic back when you use punch combos. The characters are still just as enjoyable as they are in the web series. They have changed the voice cast, which is a little sad, but I think they still do a really good job. And it's a fairly all-star cast, honestly. I can't remember. God, Let me see if I can actually get a cast list of some sort up. That's the TV series. Will it let me get the movie or the game up? It's not looking like it will. Maybe if I do that. No. God damn it. Let me hear. Voice cast, here we go. So it's got Eric Vale as Zeto. It's got a bunch of, dub VAs. Kira Buckland is in it. Kira Buckland obviously come to prevalence in the last few days, especially considering she got cast in her basically dream role as
Jolene.
Yeah.
So good for her.
Good for her.
Yeah, really.
Everyone's now ever-present voice actor Zeno Robinson is in it as Raccoon, which is great casting. And that's the thing. Like, I would be more upset about the OG cast being replaced if the replacements weren't like excellent. Like, I genuinely don't have a bad thing to say about them, so yeah, I'm absolutely happy with that. Yeah, I can't say too much about where the story goes just because I haven't gotten that far into it. Obviously, you are playing as basically as generic a character as possible. I mean, you were literally just called the White Hat Hacker.
Oh my god.
And you have basically got like the most generic design possible because the whole point is you start the game off not actually like caring about the game itself. You're just getting into it because there are like a bunch of hackers roaming free, and you're apparently a benevolent hacker who wants to take them down. And then as you get to know the Dandy Alliance more, you get more invested in the game, I'm fairly sure. But it's it's enjoyable if you like OG Tome, you'll probably enjoy this. Like I certainly am. Past the certain slight issues with gameplay, but I'm fairly sure I'll be able to figure those out. I think. Yeah, it seems like it's an enjoyable enough game. Moving on to our final game, Wildermyth.
Yes, Wildermyth. This is a game that I played. Yes,
Is there one
we're
more
not
game
talking
after
about that last. No, we're not talking about that last one.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Right.
Kind of did talk about it last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Wildermyth is a indie game that was released earlier this year. Let me see who's the developers. World Walker Games and published by Whisper Games. This is a game that is essentially a procedurally generated storytelling RPG that looks like a pop-up book.
Okay.
Neat.
The maps are all procedurally generated. The enemies you fight in them are all like who like which enemies appear are procedurally generated.
Mm-hmm.
Your characters, you can set them like at the beginning to be whoever you want them to be. Gender, name, skin tone, who they're attracted to, who they're not attracted to. you can make essentially a character be a trans man or a trans woman,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, and have that be that, um, have them be able to bear kids, whatever,
Yeah.
um, and like
That degree of
each,
customizability sounds nice.
and also it has this thing like where like every character has hooks, like story plot hooks and other traits that are also randomly pulled, um, and can and will be brought up over the course of the story, um, and can change them. Like I had a character turn into a werewolf, into a wolf woman, over the course of over the course of a game, and like, um,
Yeah.
your character, like, you can make decisions about how your characters interact with one another in the world. Like, are they snarky to one another? Are they assholes? Are they friends?
Yeah.
Can they be romantic with one another? I had a character have a kid over the course of a time skip, and then their kid joined the team.
Oh, that sounds fun.
A character can retire, and it like, how do I describe it? We talk about games like Baldur's Gate and um, Pillars of Eternity and Divinity: Original Sin
Mm-hmm.
as games that try to mimic the feeling of being a tabletop RPG. Wildermyth succeeds where they don't, because it feels like I am playing a West Marches campaign with a bunch of really good friends, and we're all assholes to each other. And our DM is a
Oh,
dick and our DM is a fun dick who, like, they're being mean, but they're being mean in a fun way.
Yeah.
And they're nice in terms of loot and shit. And
Yeah.
it's just like, it was such a pleasant time. And like, you know, so rarely is a game able to capture my heart and make me feel so content when I finish it.
Mm-hmm.
I finished like one of the first campaigns, and I was like, if I never play this game again, I will remember it fondly for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Not because necessarily like the story itself was very good, but like I remember things about that campaign and this and like the characters and the way they interact, the way you remember a good tabletop campaign, and the way you remember, like, the way we talk about how Dyron and Felix, you know, broke into the mayor's house when they didn't really need to that one time, or
oh my God.
like the time Dyron accidentally glassed a guy from a mile away, like, like the moments in a campaign, they're not necessarily the big story moments, but they're the little ones. And I think this is a game that remember that the little moments are the ones that are the most important.
Yeah.
And now that we're at the end, I think Wildermyth is my game of the year, beating out even Psychonauts 2,
Oh,
because it
dang.
just did such a good job at like capturing the little moments of an RPG, of a tabletop. And I was just like, this is such a rare feeling, and I want to hold on to this forever. So, also on my list of top games of the year, Psychonauts 2 and Great Ace Attorney. Tales of Arise is just underneath it.
Well, that's good. Glad you liked all those games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I may have purchased Wildermyth during this latest Steam sale.
Yes, you also own it. And it's also
Yes.
multiplayer.
We should do a stream about that, maybe.
We should.
At some point we will, yeah. I'm certain we will. It's just
It's
about
so
finding the
good.
time. Maybe if we get
Uh,
maybe if we get a Sunday where the three of us are available but Kaido isn't.
yeah. Or if Kaido just isn't, Kaido just doesn't want to DM that day or something.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
so good.
I mean,
I like.
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to limit myself to games that just came out this year for my game of the year, because otherwise I'd have an incredibly short list. Psychonauts is definitely up there, but I still say my game of the year is God of War,
Mm.
because I really did just enjoy that so much. I just always enjoyed it. Sans maybe the Muspelheim challenges,
Mm.
and the Dark Elves. The Dark Elves sucked. Everything else I enjoyed. And I, really looking forward to the next game on that journey. But I mean, if I had to pick one from this year, it would obviously be Psychonauts 2.
That's honestly, you can't go wrong with Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
So
I
good.
unfortunately have not played enough new games this year to really say one way or the other, so I am abstaining from nominating anything.
That's fair.
It just would be like, oh hey, I played a little bit of Among Us and I watched someone play Psychonauts 2, and I don't think that really counts.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I guess my game of the year is by default Mass Effect Legendary Edition, because that's the only game I've played to completion that isn't like a live service game or a multiplayer
the
game.
rat, the Oberdin.
Return of the Oberdin is also a fun one I played, but I still have a great deal of nostalgia for Mass Effect, and I love Legendary Edition.
Oh no
So I guess
shade.
that is my game of the year.
No shade. It's a good one.
It is.
But that takes us to the end of the stream. Thank you everyone for watching. In terms of future stuff, Saturday, not really sure. Don't currently have anything planned.
We'll figure something.
Maybe if we can get Fuzzy available, we can do Control or more Neo, because that's something I've been playing the last few days and been greatly enjoying. I like Neo. It's one of the few Souls-likes that I actually like and enjoy.
Neato.
I actually, when I streamed it on Tuesday, I actually beat a boss first time, which is absolutely shocking to me.
Oh, so it's
Nice.
not like ludicrously difficult for Souls like.
You say that, but then the next boss I struggled with greatly.
Okay.
Yeah,
never
I've
mind.
heard Neo is actually harder than a normal Souls like.
Neo
So
Neo
it's
is
just a blue
enjoyable.
pen.
Neo is I genuinely enjoy Neo. Even if I do struggle with the bosses sometimes, but honestly, I think that's more because I'm bad at these games than it is the game itself necessarily. But we'll figure something out for Saturday. Sunday should be more D&D. Tuesday, it'll either be Fuzzy and I playing Control or me playing Neo on my own, probably. I'm guaranteeing that. And then next Thursday, let me check the schedule to make sure we don't have anything scheduled. Don't think we do. So we should be returning to Phoenix Wright. If I'm not mistaken.
On that note, I do want to talk to you guys about that after this stream ends. So.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that is everything. So we will see you next time. Good night.
Good night.
Later.